Carousel of Life, Day 13. Good Luck! A Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction series based on the Adrianette April 2019 daily prompts. If you missed any previous chapters, you can find links in the description box below or click on the card in the upper right corner for the playlist. And now let's take a ride on the Carousel of Life. As a general rule, Adrian wasn't superstitious, but when Natalie brought Marinette's lucky charm to him along with a stiff apology, he felt like it was an omen. The red thread had frayed to the point of breaking, and the beads were loose. Supposedly it had gone into the wash by mistake, so it was really Adrian's fault for not remembering to take it out of his pocket. "There's one missing," he told Natalie, accepting the pieces with a bitter taste in the back of his throat. "A little blue bead." "I'll have housekeeping check for it," Natalie stated before stepping out backwards in her usual formal manner and shutting the door behind her. "Just ask her to fix it," Plagg said in a bored voice. "I can't," Adrian lamented. "Why not?" "It seems wrong to ask her for anything when I'm just going to break her heart." "See? Didn't I warn you about human love? Cheese is so much simpler." Adrian retrieved a small robin's egg blue Tiffany's pouch from his desk drawer that used to belong to his mother and placed the deconstructed charm inside. "Do all cat noirs have such bad luck, Plagg?" "The girl you're into likes you back. What's unlucky about that?" "The one I love is Ladybug." "I don't see why you have to be so loyal to Ladybug when she keeps rejecting you." Plagg drifted lazily in front of Adrian's face on his back, legs crossed, as if taunting him. "Well, maybe it's because she's Marinette and she likes civilian me." As soon as the words were out of his mouth, Adrian realized that he was still associating Marinette with Ladybug. He grit his teeth and shook his head violently as if to knock the idea out of his head. "And you're just gonna wait around until she decides to tell you who she is when you could just be dating her already? All that lost time. It'll really be a shame if they turn out to be one and the same." "Stop playing with me, Plagg," Adrian said stubbornly. "Yes, I'm going to wait." "What's the point? Bakery girl is real sweet." Plagg's little fangs glinted in the light. "Why don't you just forget about Ladybug?" "I can't forget about Ladybug. She was his first love, his dream girl. There's no one like her." "You think Marinette is like her?" Adrian had nothing to say to that. "Once you try a new cheese, it's not that hard to forget your old favorite." Adrian scowled. "Enough with the advice. I thought you didn't know anything about human love." "Oh, I know about it. I know that it makes no sense how you torture yourselves over nothing and overcomplicate everything when you could just be happy." "It's not nothing, Plagg. Can you blame me for being tortured if I don't even know whether I'm in love with one girl or two?" Adrian's voice rang out louder than he'd intended, and he fell silent, listening for footsteps in case Natalie had heard his outburst. Nothing. Phew. Plagg seemed to have gotten the hint. Instead of retorting, he floated down onto the couch and turned on the TV. Adrian slumped into his desk chair. Still clutching the Tiffany's pouch, his mood dampened with regret over the broken charm. Maybe he could fix it himself, but it wouldn't be the same. Marinette's handiwork was so perfect, he'd never get it right. He tried to summon up the willpower to start his homework. Maybe he could transform and climb to the top of the Eiffel Tower to jumpstart his brain. "Just ask her to fix it, kid," Plagg said, more sympathetically. "You haven't talked to her as Adrian since you got back. Maybe you'll feel better if you just talk to her." "I'm supposed to be doing the opposite of talking to her," Adrian muttered, feeling miserable. "Just go. I'll stop bothering you about that Serbian cheese for the rest of the month." Part of Adrian's heart warmed at this. Plagg showed his love in weird ways, but Adrian could tell his Kwame really cared about him. Maybe he could go. After all, he had something to give her from Japan and definitely didn't want to repeat trying to give it to her in front of the whole class. His afternoon was clear of activities. Now wasn't a bad time. Adrian stopped in front of the back door to Marinette's apartment, just short of ringing the doorbell. He was clutching the little blue pouch and an immaculately folded and taped paper bag from a Japanese department store, feeling out of place. "I should just go home," he said out loud and turned around.
Kid, I did not miss my favorite TV show just so you could chicken out,"
Plag said, zooming out of Adrian's shirt pocket.
"Plag, get back in there. Not until you ring that doorbell."
Ah! Adrian slammed his finger onto the doorbell before someone could round the corner and see the tiny floating cat. Plag flashed Adrian a smug expression, then disappeared back into his shirt. Adrian heard footsteps approaching, and the door opened, revealing Marinette in a cute yellow sundress. He'd never seen her in yellow before, but it suited her and made her eyes look even brighter.
"Did you make that dress?"
he asked, forgetting his intro. Yes?" Marinette blushed. The memories of the previous afternoon and Marinette's unknowing confession were fresh in Adrian's mind, and he suddenly felt strangely shy around her.
"It looks nice," he said. "I mean, the design. And it looks nice on you, too."
Wait, maybe she'd think he was flirting. He blushed at the thought. No more compliments. "Thanks," Marinette said. Why are you... can I help you with something, Adrian?" "Oh, yeah," Adrian said, remembering why he was here. He held up the Tiffany's pouch.
"I'm really sorry, Marinette. I broke your lucky charm. It got in the wash by accident. I feel so bad. It actually meant a lot to me. It's the first gift I've ever gotten from a friend, so could I possibly ask you to..."
"Oh, of course." Marinette cut off his polite groveling, understanding what he wanted. She held the door and moved aside to allow him passage. "Come in." Adrian stepped into the stairway, following Marinette's lead. The guilty feeling that he shouldn't be here chewed at him. Why had he let Plag talk him into this? The apartment was empty. Marinette's parents were probably both in the bakery. Once they were in her room, he stood in the middle of the floor, unsure what to do with himself, as she extracted a spool of red string from a craft drawer. When she held out a hand to him, he placed the little jewelry pouch in her palm, admiring the way her hesitation evaporated when she had a problem to solve.
"Thanks, Marinette,"
he said, hovering behind her shoulder as she poured out the beads on her desk with a series of clicks and started arranging them in order.
"I'm beady grateful."
Marinette giggled. How could I refuse such a charming request? Charming? She must have only said that for the pun. Or was she flirting? Adrian didn't feel right playing along anymore. Wait, was this how Ladybug felt when he flirted with puns? So maybe Ladybug did like it, but only with her crush? So maybe Marinette could be Ladybug? No. Wrong train of thought. Trying to derail his mind, Adrian told Marinette,
"There's one missing, the blue one from the top."
"It's okay, I have extras," she said, her voice warm. She opened another small drawer and took out a clear pouch of blue beads. As Marinette cut the thread and started tying knots into it, the silence started feeling awkward, and Adrian said the first thing that came to mind, desperate to fill it.
"This is so typical, right? I break things and you fix them."
Wait, what? Where did that come from? Huh? Marinette was giving him a weird look. Change of topic.
Oh, by the way, I got you a couple things."
He placed the small department store bag at the edge of her desk.
"Nothing special, just ingredients. Dried cherry blossoms and cherry blossom powder they only sell in Japan. I tasted a cherry blossom macaron while I was there, but I'm positive you could make better ones."
He winked, but his playful expression dropped when he saw the blush appear on her cheeks and realized he was acting flirty again. He'd crossed the line again. "Thanks, Adrian," Marinette said with a reserved smile. "I have something for you too, when I'm done with this." She turned back to the beads, stringing them one by one. Silence filled the room again.
"Marinette, I'm really sorry," Adrian blurted out. "If I offended you somehow, it seemed like you were avoiding me yesterday."
Beads clattered to the desk as Marinette fumbled and dropped the open end of the charm. She spun around to look at Adrian. I wasn't avoiding you. It wasn't your fault. You didn't offend me," she said. A smile was plastered on her face, but he could see pain in her expression. I'm the one who should be apologizing.
No, Marinette. What could you have to apologize for?
She didn't answer, but her smile faltered. Adrien felt like a jerk, acting as if he didn't already know exactly how Marinette felt. He'd been the one to hold her shaking shoulders as she sobbed about it yesterday. He really shouldn't have come. He didn't even deserve to apologize to her. Why would he listen to Plagg? How was this supposed to make anyone feel better? He was only going to hurt her more. He opened his mouth, intending to say he was sorry for bothering her, but had to be on his way, and that she could bring the charm to school tomorrow after fixing it, and to thank her for always being so helpful. Instead, what came out of his mouth was a question that had been running through his mind more often than he cared to admit.
Who were the two people you kissed before me?
He could feel the blood rushing to his head as he said the words, and his hands felt clammy. From the beginning, the coincidence had seemed uncanny, and when he started suspecting Marinette was Ladybug, it was just another clue, a big clue, that made him wonder if their stories lined up. But he'd never intended to actually ask her. His brain screamed that it was the absolute wrong thing to say, but once again his heart had taken control and wasn't letting go. What? Marinette was staring at him, wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe what he'd asked. Adrien couldn't believe it either, but too late.
You said you kissed two people before the play. 3 meaningless kisses. Remember?
Oh. One bead, which had been rolling slowly toward the edge of the desk, dropped off, but she made no move to get it. Her brow furrowed as if remembering something unpleasant. It was one person. A friend. I was helping out a friend. Her response made Adrien's skin prickle. He was supposed to stop prying. He was supposed to stop thinking about this. But the piece fit. He propped a hand on Marinette's desk, leaning in to capture her full attention. He had to know.
Who was it?
Marinette met his eyes. I can't tell you. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't have feelings for him. I told you, it didn't mean anything. Something flared in Adrien. Of course she wouldn't tell him who it was. If she was Ladybug and talking about Cat Noir, the irony! She did have feelings for him. His mind was filled with the words he wanted to say.
Was it Cat Noir? Was it me? You kissed me 3 times? You do like me. You do have feelings for me.
He wanted it as much as a parched person wanted a glass of water. But he couldn't say anything. Breaking Ladybug's trust by forcing a reveal was one step further than he was willing to go. So instead, he leaned forward, hovering mere inches from her lips like a question. She didn't move away. Guiding her chin with tentative fingertips, he met her lips in a tender kiss.
You don't have feelings for me, Marinette?
The thought drifted through the haze of his mind with a hint of triumph. Her lips were as soft as he remembered, and everything he dreamed a kiss with Ladybug would be. In that moment, he was almost sure. She was his lady, his bugaboo, the love of his life. That would make this okay. He sighed into the kiss, wanting more, but she pulled away. When their lips parted, the trace memory of her scent remained in his nostrils, sweet and subtle, making him want to get closer and just breathe, seeking another whiff. It was in the afterglow of the kiss that the doubts started pouring in again.
Adrien, what are you doing?
Adrien. Marinette's voice was heavy with emotion, reminding Adrien that he was hurting Marinette by giving in to his curiosity and suspicions. For all he knew, she could just be a classmate, just an innocent girl, not Ladybug. A wonderful, sweet girl he was hurting because he couldn't just leave well enough alone. She didn't deserve this. I guess that meaningless kiss count just bumped up to 4. Marinette's words, spoken in a wry tone, were like the nail in Adrien's coffin. He didn't like how she assumed that the kiss meant nothing to him, since obviously it meant something to her.
Why do you think I kissed you, Marinette?
She wouldn't meet his eyes. I don't know. Why did you? It was barely a whisper, almost a plea. He wanted to say something that would douse her pain. He wanted to assure her it wasn't meaningless, but he wasn't ready for what that assurance would imply. He didn't even understand what he was feeling. He just wanted to love Ladybug. That was all. When did things become so complicated?
I'm sorry,
he mumbled. He didn't even know what the right thing was to do in this situation. He just needed to get away before he could do even more damage. Forgetting about the lucky charm, he took several steps back.
I need to go. I forgot I have a piano lesson. Bye, Marinette.
Without even waiting for her answer, he turned around and fled, down the attic stairs, down the second staircase to the side door, into the nearest alley.
Plagg, claws out!
And he ran, wishing the wind rushing past him could blow away his troubles, the contradictory emotions devouring his heart like termites, the images of Marinette's blue eyes filled with tears that he had caused, the guilt of all his misdeeds. Was this his fate, the holder of the Kwami of destruction? To destroy whatever he touched? Usually, he saw the ring on his finger and his double life as his freedom, but today, it felt like both a blessing and a curse. Thank you for listening to Chapter 13 of Carousel of Life. Let me know what you thought in the comments, or like it if you liked it. The next part is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe for updates. Until next time!